Alright, hello and welcome back to Let's Play yet another no-name MAME game. Today's no-name MAME game is, of course, OverTop. And so this is the other overhead racer. So, I mean, there were a few overhead racers for the Neo Geo. And let's see, there's Neo Geo. Okay, there's the Neo Super Rally thing. And then there's like the Darkur Rally thing, and then there's this. So this game, if there are only those three games on the Neo Geo, then it's probably the third best rally game. That being said, I mean, I haven't really ever played this thoroughly, but just given the vague look of like the pre-rendered sprites, and then the... Oh gosh, are we racing on a circuit? This is not how you do a rally game. I guess it's not really a rally game if you could select a Ferrari as a playable character, but it's not the kind of game that instills you with a lot of confidence. Although I will give it credit, I mean... What's it doing now? That was it. Sure. I will give it credit, I mean... Ooh, what's this? Right, so you have to press forward to go backwards. I'm sure it's just like that in real cars too. I will say this about the game's steering. I mean, it does seem to go for like more of a precision thing, like you can actually kind of way oversteer your car. Alas, forward to go backwards. So that's a definite interesting thing. I mean, compare and contrast this to Neo Super Rally, or I forget the name of that. Compare it. But contrast that to that, where in Neo Super Rally, you can kind of turn as much as you want, and then it doesn't ever really overturn, whereas this, yeah, it's pretty sensitive, actually. Not necessarily sensitive, but you have to hold the stick a little longer to turn about as much, so... Yeah, okay, the stick is less sensitive, which makes it more precise. Oh! And I was gonna joke earlier on that the second button is brake, an entirely useless button, and yet I think this game legitimately expects you to brake. I find this borderline unacceptable for an arcade racer. Alright, so I guess first impressions aren't everything, and then this game, it is actually kind of... It gives you a different experience than the other two. I mean, the Neo Super Racing one is all about kind of excitement and, like, just adrenaline and just smashing through and just racing through and, like, quick reflexes and stuff. The Darkur Rally, well, I mean, I've only ever played the crazy Darkur Rally mode where you basically have to do the entire Darkur Rally all in a row without failing any of the stages. That's basically my preferred way to go, so that rally kind of goes into like a test of patience. And I guess to a lesser extent a test of skill. Whereas this game, it seems not so much like... It seems to bridge the gap, or it seems to test a different kind of skill. I hesitate to say it's realistic, but it's relatively realistic? And I mean, you saw in the beginning, this was made by ADK, and I mean, they made Twinkle Star sprites. They made some of the other fighting games for the Neo Geo. I think World Heroes, maybe? That was a game that was comparable to some of SNK's offerings. So, I mean, they're not a bad developer. They can do well. And I guess I should have had more faith. Third button is a nice, happy honker. So, I'd say it's the most important button in any racing game, so you can show your displeasure at people, but, I don't know, where are the other racers? Actually, yeah, I mean, you saw in the beginning, it's like we had other racers, but now it's just kind of us. And, I don't know, it's kind of up to you whether that's your preferred way of rallying or not. Because, I mean, yeah, most rallies, you're basically on your own, and other people would just kind of mess you up. But, I mean, if you've ever played, like, the Dirt series, well, okay, especially Dirt 3, which actually focuses on rally, which is a little weird for a series that comes out of the ashes of Colin McRae Rally to only focus on rallying as sort of an ancillary Oh wow, we're just doing a crazy circuit all around the globe. That is actually surprisingly comparable to the Darkur Rally. To PDE? Wow. I didn't know that we were... I feel a little impartial to that. Well, let's try a different car. Okay, so it's like, who do you want to be? I chose the all-around. Well, oh, that's the... Lamborghini? Are you kidding me? Ferrari's the only way to go. Oh, I should have chosen red. What am I doing? Anyway. Alright, let's show these suckers what real speed is like. Well, now that we know the game. Actually, the music right here, right now, I could fall asleep to this. Oh my god. Well. Oh, so you have to press back and brake to go forward. No, backwards. Sorry. But dang. This kind of music in the background. Yeah, I could fall asleep to this, which you might not think that's like such a great thing for an arcade racing game, but sometimes you just need a game to kind of chill out. I mean, it doesn't seem like the game takes itself like too well, because I mean, you've got the whole precision turning thing, and I suppose the game expects you to well, use the precision turning to turn precisely. So, yay. Well, if someone wants some lawn remodeling done, I know the person. Gosh. Okay, maybe doing a rally with a Ferrari was not the greatest of choices. It kind of reminds me of Richard Burns' rally. If you install all the crazy mods and stuff, one of the included cars is a Porsche 911. So that's right, you can go rallying in a Porsche. Unfortunately, it's about as fragile as you'd imagine it to be, but it's fun while it lasts. It is kind of hilarious to kind of compare and contrast to like more standard circuit-based races, where you can actually race with a race-ready 911 and just be like, huh, so this is what it would be like to rally in a sports car. Well, I mean, we're stage like, what, 3 now? If we only keep it up, we can probably compensate for lost time. Ooh, pavement. Now we're burning rubber. I mean, I can't really say it's the polar opposite of Neo Drift Out. There we go. Now I know its name. But I mean, like, Neo Drift Out, it's all adrenaline, like, the music. Even the music is super exciting. And I do kind of love its music for just being so needlessly upbeat. But this one, I mean, it's really chill. The turns actually matter. And the stages are sort of connected by their own timer. I mean, they're not really connected like in the Darkur Rally one. You do actually go from like stage to stage and it's like seamless. Whereas this one, it kind of puts you in autopilot for a little while. Wow. And the Ferrari is starting to show its true color. Although, I'm imagining that it's kind of like that for everyone. Because even in the all-around van, it was still a little rough going on these mountain paths. I wonder how the Lamborghini fares. And I'll admit, the visuals are kind of growing on me. It really helps that, like, everything but the cars has some pretty amazing sprite work on it. Which only makes me wonder, why even bother with the pre-rendered look for the cars when, I mean, none of the rest of the game is really gonna match it. Still, I mean, I'll appreciate quality when I see it. Actually, yeah, it's even more detailed than Neo Drift Out. Because Neo Drift Out, I mean, there's a fair level of detail, but at the same time, it's a lot of repeated elements. And I mean, I think that's also too, because Neo Drift Out's a bit more of a game, whereas this is more of an experience. I do especially like that the different choices of cars actually matters. I mean, you look at Neo Drift Out, you've got like 3 cars, and if you don't choose the one that accelerates the fastest, then you're... The heck? Wow. Jeep seems a little underpowered. Well... Sure, we'll go orange. Or yellow. I mean, I really do kind of, well, adding in a bunch of different kinds of cars to play as really does add in a fair amount of replay value. And I think with this game, it actually does kind of, there are trade-offs to the different cars. Whereas, like, Neo Drift Out, you can choose different cars, and, I mean, there's really no difference. You just have to choose the one that, like, has the highest top speed, because, I mean, you're never going to crash ever, right? And then that's what you want to do in that one. Whereas in this game, it does seem to kind of matter, like, what car you choose. Because different cars have, like, the different strengths, different weaknesses, so, like, you'll be better in some stages, worse in others, so you gotta compensate for that. And then, the Darkur Rally game, that one you can choose different cars, but honestly, as soon as I realized, like, it's either the motorcycle or, like, the special F1 vehicle, as soon as I realized that was the best, then I kept on choosing it. I guess also, too, it's because this one, the control and handling really matters. Whereas in the other two, you can get by with murder in those ones. A bit more literally than you'd think. But in this one, if you're not, like, handling it right, you're just gonna go bouncing everywhere, and it's gonna negatively impact you. How did I set the record for the first stage, yet I'm in 4th right now? Oh well, we'll see. Oh, maybe the records aren't quite so ambitious. I guess this one, well, because I mean, I'd say it's a bit more like a relaxing Sunday drive, but at the same time, you need to really be paying attention, and you have to really be using skill in here. And actually, you can get some pretty nice drifts. Like Neo Drift Out and oh gosh, the Darkur Rally one, you can't really drift on that one. Neo Drift Out, yeah, you can drift, but it's kind of an arcadey drift. It's definitely like a controlled drift. And it's like something you're supposed to do, and you can't really help it, so you always have to do it. This game, like, you really only drift if you would drift in real life, so I say this is fairly realistic. Gosh, have my first impressions ever been right about a game? Well, on to the rough. Actually, this car seems to be faring quite well. I don't think we'll be winning any awards here, but we might finish a little farther than before. Although I will say this, Neo Drift Out had pretty awesome snow effects. Actually, wait, I don't think it ever actually snowed in Neo Drift Out. All you got to see was, like, the tracks turn snowy. So, well, even with this meager sort of snowness, I guess it needs going. Although, yeah, Neo Drift Out, there's the weird mechanic where it's like there are shortcuts to the rally races, which seems to be a little bit of the antithesis to the entire concept of a rally, but whatever. You played your way, I'll play my way. This game, I think I saw a little bit of a shortcut around there, but I don't really think it's something you need to explore or anything. Like, it doesn't seem like it's something you absolutely have to exploit to win. Whereas, like, Neo Drift Out, unless you're really good, shortcuts really do help you get where you want to go. Of course, after a while, you kind of memorize the tracks anyway. Oh my god. Look at that, just look at that detail they put into just the dirt on the ground. That's amazing. Actually, wow. And it sucks, too, because they started out with the pre-rendered cars, so it's like I see that and I think, oh, pff, lazy, cheap cash-in. They're not going to do the work on the sprites. But the more I play it, the more I see, the more I'm enthralled. That, I mean, a little unfortunate. And, I mean, the next stage is probably just going to be some sort of little victory lap, but, I don't know, I don't think I can make it there unless I keep playing over and over and over again. And it was nice a few times, but every game kind of wears thin. Yeah, pre-rendered sprites have like almost been a thing here, but it's just baffling. I mean, you have the pre-rendered sprites as your cars, but then you put so much effort and time into like spriting the background. And I mean, to their credit, the pre-rendered cars, they stick out a little bit, but the more you play, the less it sticks out, the more it kind of feels... never feels natural, but it feels acceptable. And then that is a really nice feature where they keep track of the best times at each stage, but at the same time, I mean, all the others did that, I think. Except for Darkur Rally, where it's more about, like, distance, and how long before you give up than the others. Well, I started out thinking that OverTop was by far the weakest Neo Geo racing offering, and here at the end, I'm beginning to think it could be in the contending for the strongest. They all have their strengths and weaknesses, and it's really more about what you're feeling like. So that was OverTop. Well, I know there's the old saying, never judge a book by its cover, and that's not always true, but sometimes that is true. Well, on that note, this cat's got a scat. $80K OverTop Desu. That's what they decided to spell out with their things. I was